Fran, good morning. Wanted to ask you about Patrick. I know last week he was practicing and probably getting close. Is he going to play this week?
That'll be determined game time. He's still practicing, doing better.
Chad?
Yeah, just following up on that, Fran. How is Patrick's conditioning? I mean, what has he been able to do on the court, off the court to stay in shape, in basketball shape? Is he getting shots up? I'm just kind of curious what he's been doing out
Chad, he's doing everything that everybody else is doing right now. So he's running, he's lifting, shooting, practicing. Yeah, I think his conditioning, should be okay. Whenever he decides to play.
Do you think? Can I just jump in? Do you expect him to return at some point, I guess, or is this still kind of an unknown to you? Okay.
Yeah, I at some point, without a doubt, he'll be playing.
Okay.
Pennington?
Morning, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. I wanted to ask about your 2023 signees. Obviously, Brock and Owen played a big game against Simeon, and Price and Lodge are on, top-ranked teams as well. How much do you get a chance to follow what they're doing in terms of their high school seasons, maybe day-to-day or week-to-week, and what are some thoughts that you have on how they've all played this year?
Well, quite honestly, I mean, they played as I would have expected them to play, and I think as they would have expected themselves to play. All four of them are really good players. They're gamers, they're winners, they're character guys. They have skill sets that complement each other. They're on winning teams. And we follow them very closely. To answer your question specifically, I think Moline will contend for a state championship in Illinois, which, as you know, is not easy. Lodge is on a team that, expects to be one of the better teams in the nation, St. Benedict's, and they are. And Price is certainly on one of the best teams in Iowa, and I think would expect to contend for a state championship in our state. So all those guys we're thrilled about. They're winners, and looking forward to getting them on campus.
Mike?
Fran, yesterday, Tom Izzo had some interesting things to say about the transfer portal and just how he feels about it. And to me, it seemed like it closely resembles things you've said on it. In 2023, what are your feelings about it? And what would you like to see sort of evolve?
Well, I think that last part of your question, Mike, is the problem. I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think they're going to rescind the rule and go back to the way it was. So I think it's something that we have to figure out how we're going to deal with. I think it's something that, I think most people don't like. But as I said, to you guys before, most of the NCAA rules that were written, if you really studied the rule book, all were written in favor of the institution. So now we're seeing a shift in more flexibility for the student athlete. So I don't think it'll ever go back to the way it was. It probably should have changed in that sense. Like NIL, for example, is something that was inevitable. As I said to you before, I don't think the original transfer rules were a penalty. I didn't think they were at all. So what we've seen is a rule that has been a complete game changer in how everybody does business. And the negative side of NIL, and the reason NIL has a negative connotation with a lot of people, is it's become pay for play, and it's not what it was supposed to be. The transfer portal, NIL, pay for play. That's not what NIL was supposed to be. It was supposed to be creating opportunities for our student athletes to interact with the business community in very professional ways and help prepare them for life after basketball, which obviously is a thing that anybody would support. So, I think you get to a point where you adjust to the rule changes, whatever the rule changes are. And you and I can go back in history. I've been doing this 40 years. There have been a lot of rule changes in the NCAA in that period of time. We went from 15 scholarships to 13 scholarships. I mean, how we do official visits. I mean, you could pick any topic, any part of the recruiting process. The rules have changed. Things change over time. So now what we have to do is just say, okay, the transfer portal is here. You might lose a kid or two that you didn't expect to. There is a pool of student athletes out there now where you can go and try to replace players. I don't think any of us want to get to the point, and some of us have, where you have to go sign 6, 7, or 8 players out of the portal just so you can build a roster. As I've said to you guys many times, I was hired to build a program, and I never really wanted it to be where I just put a team together year to year. But the rules are what they are. I don't think any of the new legislation will change. So we'll have to deal with it. We can like it, dislike it, pick one, or you can just deal with it. And I think, that's what, I'm choosing to do. And we'll try to make the necessary adjustments to try to make our team good each year.
If I could just ask a short follow-up.
Sure.
What have you done? I mean, everybody loses players, and just about everybody, maybe everybody, has had to get into the portal. But
Right.
what have you done to minimize that as much as you can?
To be honest with you, Mike, all I've done is try to take care of my guys. Provide what they need academically, provide what they need medically, give them opportunities to play, coach them up, watch film with them, have discussions with them, build their confidence, make this the best experience of their lives. I want this to be the best 4 years of their lives. Surround them with character teammates that will become friends for the rest of their life. And my feeling is if you do that, kids will want to stay and compete. And because they love their teammates, they love the locker room. There's a mutual respect between the players and coaches. And we provide an unbelievable opportunity on a big stage to potentially take your game to the next level. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. If somebody wants to leave, we're not going to badmouth them. We're not going to get in their way. And we may have to sign somebody else. And that's how this thing is going to go. And I'll keep doing what I'm doing and try to minimize the amount of people that do eventually leave.
Steve?
Yeah, Fran, interested in your take on Michigan State and specifically on Walker's improvement from a year ago.
He's playing about as well as anybody I've seen on tape. Great deal of confidence, scoring the ball at a high clip. I think the development of Hogard has been a big part of that. I thought Hogard was good last year. I think he's becoming elite. There's two different things there. He was good. Now he's elite. So now Walker can play off the ball and sometimes he has it, but he can go get buckets. I mean, he can score the ball at a number of different levels. He can get to the rim. He's got a serious pull-up game. He can make threes, and he's a late game shot maker. So those two guys together, I think, have been really good for that team, but they've also been really good together.
Pennington?
Coach, when I talked to Phil after the Ohio State game, he said that he felt like the team was lacking that kind of road warrior mentality. He pointed to not executing things done in scout as well as they would have liked. What have you just observed in the last week or so in terms of the preparation and the team's mindset going into another road game?
Yeah, they've been really professional, as I would have expected them to be. We were not as connected at either end of the floor That was obvious. You know, we're not a team that turns the ball over 14 times. We're not a team that gets out rebounded like that, in particular in 20 minutes. You know, we played okay for a while. We hung in there. We made a couple runs. You know, we kept cutting it to 8, couldn't get it under 8. You got to learn from it. And this is a mature group, and I think their approach has been really good.
Chad,
When you've had really good defensive efforts like Iowa State, most of the Maryland game, kind of what goes well for you guys there, and what maybe kind of went off the rails, especially in the second half in Columbus, that you can fix?
Well, we had a couple pretty good defensive possessions where we didn't secure the rebound. You know, so starting there, you know, that demoralizes you, obviously, when you have what you think is a pretty good connected possession and they get it back and lay it in, they get it back and kick it out and hit a 3. You know, I thought a lot of the problem we had was our offensive execution was not good. So, you know, they got some transition opportunities and they got to play from ahead. They got a lead and they were comfortable running their stuff. They were running their stuff at their pace. They were mixing up penetration and post ups, and they were going back and get their misses. So, you know, you got to disrupt the rhythm. They were in a really good rhythm, and we didn't do anything to disrupt that at all.
Chad.
Yeah, and just totally different topic, but I don't think we've talked to you since Mike Bray. You know, the news announced that he was going to be departing. I know I don't know if you guys ever crossed paths coaching wise. I don't think you did, but that's obviously an institution that means a lot to you. What any thoughts on his leaving that post after such a long time?
Well, you know, I consider Mike a really good friend and somebody I've known a long time and have unbelievable respect for. And I have tremendous respect for the job that he did there. I have a great appreciation for the job that he did there. It's a place that is unique in many ways. It's spectacular in many ways. And the right person has to be the coach there. And he was that guy for 23 years. And I applauded him. I reached out to him and said, you know, I know just how special a job you did. And I know the pride that he took in that position. He was excited to get it when he got it, and he built it. And he built it through a unique time. They were in the Big East, and then they shifted to the ACC, and they renovated the facility, and then they built a practice facility, and that stuff takes time. And he was patient and just kept grinding, working with his athletic director, you know, to make that program special. And so I'm happy for him that he, you know, is stepping away kind of on his terms. I don't know what his plans are moving forward. You know, if he's going to stay on there as an employee in some capacity, which I'm sure they would love to have because of how well respected he is. So wish him luck the rest of the season. And I know he'll continue to coach them up.
Seeing no other hands, that'll conclude today's call. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.